G'day guys and girls, welcome back to SideQuest Gaming, where we take a look at both old games and new to try and uncover some of those little hidden gems you might want to give a crack and try out for yourself. Today we're taking a look at a wrap-up of the Steam Third Person Shooter Festival. The Third Person Shooter Festival runs from August 25th to September the 1st and has a whole wide range of really discounted and interesting titles to take a look at. These are my kind of top picks for what's come out of this particular sale. Let's dive in. UNCHARTED Legacy of Thieves Collection. The UNCHARTED Legacy of Thieves Collection is 60% off, or Australian $29.98, or your regional equivalent, and this collection brings together Uncharted 4 and the Lost Legacy, remastered for modern hardware. It's an action-adventure series at its best. Cinematic set pieces, climbing, gunfights, and witty banter. The settings are globe-trotting treasure hunts, exotic ruins, lush jungles, sun-drenched cities, and mysterious temples. Mechanics balance cover-based shooting with exploration and puzzle solving, never staying in one gear for too long. Visually, the remaster sharpens already gorgeous environments with higher resolutions and frame rates. The soundtrack and sound design pack the cinematic punch you'd expect, and performances remain some of the strongest in the genre. If you've never played these, this collection is a must-buy. If you already have, the value depends on how much you want the technical upgrade. Either way, it's blockbuster gaming at its finest. Control Ultimate Edition plus Alan Wake Franchise Bundle. The Control Ultimate Edition plus Alan Wake Franchise Bundle is at 90% off, or $8.44 Australian, or your regional equivalent, which is incredibly cheap. This bundle pairs Remedy's interconnected universes, and it's a smart buy for fans of surreal narrative-driven action. Control is a supernatural third-person shooter set in the mysterious Federal Bureau of Control, while Alan Wake is a thriller about a writer fighting his own nightmares. Mechanics in Control revolve around telekinetic powers, brutal gunplay, and environmental destruction. Alan Wake is a slower, more atmospheric game using light as a weapon. Together they show Remedy's evolution over a decade of development. Visually, Control is one of the most stylish modern games. Brutalistic architecture warped by impossible phenomena. Alan Wake is older but still moody. The sound design in both is superb, unsettling, immersive, and always tied to the narrative. This bundle is excellent value if you want to dive into Remedy's expanding connected universe. Hours of gameplay, strong stories, and lots of weirdness is well worth the price. On its own, Control Ultimate Edition is still a masterpiece of supernatural action. The story is cryptic but compelling. For the price, this is one of the more polished, unique third-person action games out there. Control on its own is still 90% off, and it's $4.99 Australian, or your regional equivalent. XCOM Enemy Unknown and the Bureau Bundle. XCOM Enemy Unknown and the Bureau Bundle is at 80% off, or $12.99 Australian, and the bundle pairs the superb strategy of Enemy Unknown with the squad shooter spin-off. Enemy Unknown is a masterpiece. Turn-based tactical combat, base management, and tense choices where soldiers' lives are always at risk, while the Bureau is kind of the weaker half but adds a fair bit of flavour. Visually, Enemy Unknown is stylized but clear, while Bureau is more grounded. Both have strong sound design supporting their tones, but together this bundle is great value, offering both deep strategy and a side experiment in the XCOM kind of universe and storytelling. The Bureau is a third-person tactical shooter spin-off of XCOM. It's set in the 1960s, where you fight an alien invasion with a squad under your command. Mechanics combine cover shooting with squad orders, letting you set up flanks and special abilities. It's a hybrid that doesn't quite reach XCOM's heights, but has its own unique charm. The setting and art style lean into Cold War paranoia, and the sound design is solid, though not outstanding. It's flawed, but if you enjoy the XCOM's universe in general and tactical shooters, it's a fun budget pick that might enhance your kind of experience of XCOM overall. Remnant from the Ashes. Remnant from the Ashes is at 80% off, or $11.39 Australian, and Remnant is a co-op action RPG, often called Dark Souls with guns. The world is apocalyptic fantasy, twisted roots, alternate dimensions, and monstrous bosses. Mechanics mix third-person shooting with dodging, stamina management, and loot-driven progression. It shines in co-op, where coordination makes brutal encounters manageable. The art style is grim but varied, with ruined cities, alien jungles, and nightmarish landscapes. The sound design is punchy, with impactful weapon feedback and intimidating enemy roars. It's a challenging but satisfying game with procedural elements, and no two runs are exactly the same. Worth taking a look at with this heavy, steep discount. Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is 67% off, or $11.86 Australian, or your regional equivalent. Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike third-person shooter where you fight escalating waves of enemies while gathering items that stack in wild, broken ways. The setting is a hostile alien planet, and each run takes you through different biomes until you either win or get overwhelmed. Mechanics are simple to learn but scale into chaotic screen-filling battles. The art is colourful, stylized and readable even when dozens of enemies are on screen. The soundtrack is phenomenal, moody, futuristic and perfectly synced with the action. It's addictive, highly replayable and especially fun in multiplayer. The Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 is at 50% off, or $47.47 Australian, or your regional equivalent. Not a huge discount, but for such an awesome title, it's still worth taking a look at if you haven't played it before. This is the rebuilt version of Naughty Dog's classic survival action game. You play Joel and Ellie across a ruined America filled with infected and hostile survivors. Gameplay is a mix of stealth, resource scavenging, and intense gunfights. It's brutal and grounded, emphasizing limited ammo, limited resources, and desperate encounters. Visually, this remake is stunning. Character models and environments look modern, almost on par with Part 2. The sound design remains top tier with haunting ambient noise and emotional performances. The story is still one of gaming's most powerful tales. It really stays with you over time, and if you haven't had the chance to experience it, it's absolutely worth taking a look at. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Anniversary Edition. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Anniversary Edition is 75% off, or Australian $13.73. It's not the lowest this title's dropped to, but it is still very discounted and well worth the price at this price point. This edition refreshes a cult classic action game where you play as an ultramarine mowing down orcs and chaos. Gameplay is a hybrid of third-person shooting and melee combat, encouraging aggressive up-close action. It's simple, but it's very fun. The art direction is pure 40k, gothic sci-fi architecture, brutal armor designs, and endless hordes of enemies. The sound design is explosive, with chainswords buzzing and bolters thundering. It's not the deepest game, but it's a satisfying power fantasy. The Anniversary Edition modernizes it slightly, but doesn't overhaul it completely. Still, for fans of 40k or action games, is solid value, and if you're looking to play Space Marine 2 but haven't played the original, this might be a worthwhile pickup for you. Suit for Hire. Suit for Hire is 40% off, or $13.17, or your regional equivalent. Suit for Hire is a combination of a top-down shooter and a third-person action game inspired by John Wick. You move, shoot, and stylishly dispatch enemies while chaining combos. Mechanics reward fluidity and creativity, sliding across tables, rolling and kicking enemies into walls while keeping your combo meter alive. The art style is clean and minimalistic, emphasizing clarity over detail. Sound design is fast and punchy, with thumping music that keeps the adrenaline high. It's short but sweet, more of an arcade-style experience. At its low price, it's a great pickup if you want stylish, replayable action. Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Marstered. Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Marstered is at 80% off, or only $5.99 Australian, or your regional equivalent, and this remaster updates the cult classic open-world destruction game. You're a miner on Mars fighting a guerrilla war against an oppressive regime. The mechanics shine in demolition. Every building, tower, and bridge can be blown up with hammers, bombs, and vehicles. The physics are still... we haven't really seen it in a game since. The visuals are sharper, though still clearly dated. The sound design is solid, with satisfying explosions and crunchy weapon feedback. It's repetitive, but the sheer joy of destruction keeps it fun. For fans of open world chaos, it's worth the price, especially this heavily discounted, and it is far superior, in my personal opinion, to the most recent Red Faction. Call to Arms, Gates of Hell, Ostfront. Call to Arms Gates of Hell is a tactical RTS real-time tactics kind of combination set during World War II, focusing on realism and combined arms battles. You control squads, tanks, and artillery in high-detailed, destructible environments. You can even take direct control of individual units for a more personal approach. The art style is grounded with authentic uniforms and gritty battlefields. Sound design is immersive, booming artillery, tank engines, and small arms fire all feel authentic. It's niche, but deep. For strategy fans, this offers incredible value and replayability. If you enjoyed Men of War, this is almost like a spiritual successor and worth your time. Outcast 1.1. Outcast 1.1 is at 67% off or a low Australian $2.80 or your regional equivalent, and Outcast is a cult classic from the late 90s updated in this version for modern PCs. It's an open world action adventure game where you explore an alien planet and interact with its inhabitants. Gameplay mixes exploration, shooting, and dialogue-driven quests. It was ambitious for its time and still feels fresh in concept, though clunky in execution. The art style shows its age, but remains charming, and the sound design is atmospheric with a strong orchestral score. Outcast 1.1 is mainly for fans of gaming history. For newcomers, it's a bit rough, but it is a piece of sci-fi gaming legacy, and it's well worth a look at this low price. The Forever Winter. The Forever Winter is 40% off, or $26.37, or your regional equivalent. The Forever Winter is a survival extraction shooter set in a bleak post-apocalyptic world where colossal war machines hunt survivors. Gameplay focuses on squad tactics, stealth, and scavenging. You're underpowered, and survival depends on smart positioning and resource management rather than brute force. Visually, it's oppressive and industrial, with towering machines creating a constant sense of dread. The sound design amplifies this, metallic roars, grinding machinery, and the eerie silence of ruined cities. It's early in its life, but the concept is fresh and terrifying. If you want tension, atmosphere, and squad survival, this is one to watch. Value will depend on how much content grows over time with its launch. And that's my top picks for the most recent Steam sale on the third-person shooters. The sale does run from the 25th of August to the 1st of September. This has been SideQuest Gaming. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. If you're finding this content of interest, please consider liking and subscribing. It makes a big difference to me. As always, I'll catch you in the next one. See you tomorrow. Bye.